All right, ladies and gentlemen, so we are back with another episode of the Not an Accident podcast. I am your host, Attorney Kevin. I'm getting good at introducing myself by now. I used to forget because I was so excited about our guest. And not only this time am I excited about our guest, but this is actually episode 30 of the podcast, which is insane to say. And of course, we had to have an amazing guest that we've been trying to get you on here for a minute. You're a busy man.
A few weeks, yeah. I think we had scheduled something a few weeks ago, but I think there was some kind of miscommunication with something. But yeah, I do. I'm happy to be on there. I've been wanting to be on a podcast for a while. I love just yapping about cars and business, so I'm very happy to be here.
So Cassian Levinson, everybody, from European Exotic Center. So you may not see him as much these days because he is on the other coast a little bit now.
Here and there, yeah.
Getting that ramped up over there. So you guys opened another location over there. Obviously, you guys have your location in Tampa Bay.
Yep.
So, and you guys are in exotic car sales, which obviously everybody knows I love cars. So.
Yes. So
luxury as well.
Yeah, luxury and exotic cars. So we opened up in 2014 here in Tampa, strictly as just a service center, mostly Ferrari, noted to be actually the first Koenigsegg service center in the country.
Okay.
And then sales opened up, I want to say 2019.
Okay. Because the only other, and real quick, I want to circle Koenigsegg. The only other one is probably Miami in Florida, right?
Well, I think Miami now. I think now there's probably 5 or 6 that have been opened up since, but even still, there's not many.
Mm-hmm.
But we were the first, so that was kind of cool. But I wasn't.
So nobody else matters, guys. Yeah.
Nobody. Yeah, we're the OG guys. But we really would do most of the older stuff.
Okay.
The newer Koenigsegg's, I think, would have to go probably to Miami or probably New York. But yeah, so strictly service initially, then sales opened up, and then that was out in Clearwater. We moved out here to Tampa back in 2021.
Okay.
That's when I came on board. And then we opened up our second store out in San Clemente, California, July 1st. So that's strictly sales. About 35 cars at that store, about 50 or so on at the Tampa store.
So I want to say, and obviously I don't want to get canceled. I want to say this with all due respect, but I guess you all were one of the, I guess, positive products of COVID because you got to ride that car wave for a little while.
Yes, I was in the industry since 2017, so I did get to see it down in Naples as well. But yeah, we some of the prices on a lot of the cars, like 458s, a lot of the Porsches. The prices were kind of going nuts, and we're trying to, like you said, kind of ride that wave. And everything kind of settled back down 2022, 2023. And now the market's all over the place. I don't even know what to predict now. It's kind of difficult, but yeah, it was kind of crazy. We were selling 458s for almost $300,000.
It was insane. Yeah. I mean, you would look at car prices. I mean, I have the Huracan Evo, the green machine. Yep. And I saw them as high as 330 to even 350, I think, a handful of them. I mean, it was getting nuts. And I was I didn't know what to do, but in the fact of, I'm like, man, should I, sell this thing and figure it out later? Obviously I love that car. So I was just kind of I'll sit tight, but
it was a great car.
It was getting nuts, man.
Yeah.
Where did your passion for cars start?
Oh man, I was thinking about this yesterday. It's I don't think I've ever known of a moment in my life that I just wasn't genuinely obsessed with cars. Even as a 5-year-old, when you kind of gain consciousness, I don't remember a time where I just wasn't completely in love with them. Where it came from, I want to say partially, my family is big into cars, right? My dad's side, they used to own Lincoln dealerships, Cadillac dealerships back in the day. My dad always had some cool cars growing up. So, and I think that mixed with just being obsessed with Top Gear, like every car enthusiast.
Of course.
I still watch Top Gear pretty much every day. It's my sort of comfort show. So
that's awesome.
I think I was just obsessed. I don't know what it is about cars. I think, when you're 9 years old and you see a Murcielago SV, it's how are you not obsessed with
it's a piece of art.
It's just, it's sort of, human expression. It's part of the reason why you do love it is because they're completely unnecessary. Nobody needs a green Huracan, but you get it because it's incredible to drive. It looks amazing. It's art on wheels. There's a lot of emotion that goes behind it. But yeah, I've just always loved them, and I don't really know what drew me to them. I think just family. pretty much.
Well, and on top of that too, you think about the cars from that we were coming up in it, when we were, I guess, consciously conscious, we could call it,
Mhm.
late 90s, early 2000s. You think about like
Yeah.
the Murcielagos, you think about the
Yeah.
Countaches, you think about the Testarossas, you think about, and then a little later, the Gallardos and the
Yeah.
458s, or even, going back to 360s and the 430s. I mean, those were like pinnacle of like incredible cars that came out during,
Yeah,
our generation.
I don't think we'll ever get that era again.
Oh, no.
My favorite era is mid 2000s.
Yep.
Partially again because I was 9, right?
Yeah.
So when the Veyron came out, like it was everyone in my school like knew all the stats. Like it was the first car to be $1 million, 1,000 horsepower, W6, like just crazy specs, top speed.
The McLaren F1.
Right, McLaren
Yeah.
F1 was, but it's like now we have 15 cars that are $1 million plus 1,000. It's everything's kind of like it's not as impressive now.
Mm-hmm.
I think the bars moved up to maybe 2,000 horsepower, but
Mhm.
yeah, I just that era because it was the perfect amount of tech and still performance, but also being pretty analog at the same time.
Yeah, it was functional.
A lot of cars now that come out, I drive them, and that sounds kind of spoiled to say, but like they're really fast, like, but they're just not really super emotional. They're a little bit soulless,
Mm-hmm.
and then you hop back into like like a Mercy Roadster or something, and it's just it's life changing. Like it's genuinely exciting. So yeah, it's hard. They can't make cars like that anymore. It's because of regulations and whatnot. So
Yeah, and some, different strokes for different folks. I was just fortunate enough. I just picked up a G-Wagon and,
saw that.
yeah, very fortunate. Hard work pays off, and I appreciate obviously my team. And yeah, it's a group effort. And sorry to my wife again. No, I'm just kidding. Everybody's like, oh, it's kind of like, tanky and like, drives a little trucky and stuff like that. I'm like, yeah, I wanted to
Sure.
like feel like a driving experience.
Yeah.
Like I didn't want to ride when I was looking at all, oh, this is so luxurious and this is so, comfortable and this is this. And I'm like, no, I want like
Right.
an actual like driving experience.
Yeah,
So
you're right. People are like, it's like the guy buying the 600 LT McLaren
Mm.
knows it's gonna ride a little rough.
yeah,
Like you're not surprised when you're in it. Like, oh, I thought this was gonna be super comfortable. Like, no, you didn't buy a Bentley. You bought a McLaren it's a track toy, and a G Wagon drives a certain way, and it's not gonna be the same as more plush like Bentayga or whatever.
yeah,
But
exactly.
G Wagons are sick. So
What are some notable folks that you've been able to connect with because of cars?
I want to say honestly, probably 80.
Me.
Kevin,
Okay,
first
that's
and
great.
foremost.
Okay, wonderful.
I want to say probably 80% of my friends / acquaintances I met through cars. Just going to car meets and just naturally that's just
Mhm.
what you're around a lot, especially in Naples, right? Where the car scene's pretty nuts. In terms of like, more like I guess like creators maybe. I mean, I've collaborated a few times with Sam Crack, who's a big YouTuber. He's got over 1 million subs on there. He's a great guy. He lives in Tampa locally, so we'll do videos every now and then. Actually just collaborated with Chris in Cars
Yep,
recently.
I just
He's
met with him. Yeah.
super cool kid. He's gonna come back tomorrow. Actually, stop by the dealership.
Oh, sick.
Maybe do something. I met John Cena a few times. There's some cool guys that you do meet. Obviously, just naturally.
He was a big car guy, and the guy. I want to touch on that real quick. So I saw him at the and didn't talk to him. People are trying to get photos and stuff like that.
Course.
First of all, super nice. Took a photo with everybody.
Yeah.
Number one. Number two is it was so cool to see how respectful though the car community was. Like it wasn't like, oh my God, oh my, like freaking out, like sign this, sign my forehead, and stuff. It was
Yeah.
just kind of like tasteful. And then it was Todd from Naples Motorsports.
Yep.
He had Todd took him around and showed him a couple cars and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And everybody stayed away and let him have like his moments and stuff like that at the Wesley Chapel when they had that the McLaren. I forgot what the Speedtail.
Speedtail by Senna.
Yeah, and then so and let him have some time. And I was like, that's super cool. Like that's what this is about. Like it's more about shared interest rather than like
just being like bombarded.
Sign my baby.
Right.
So that was cool for me. Very similarly, and I wrote down in my notes depreciating assets. So a lot of people call cars depreciating assets, which I think a lot of these cars are the complete opposite. And it's not only it's in the eye of the beholder, really, again, on my side, the people that I've been able to connect with, business owners, friends, acquaintances and things like that, would have never happened if I wasn't, didn't have cool cars or,
Yeah.
didn't have people with shared interests and things like that. So, if we weren't, had a passion for cars, would we have connected? Maybe, maybe not,
That's not a good point, actually. Simply owning a cool car like that does kinda open up some doors, which, it shouldn't always be like that, but naturally, you do potentially get granted access to certain clubs or just certain events that maybe people are hosting just because you have a really cool car.
hmm
Which is why you see, a lot of content creators buying cool cars simply to make content around. And so, yeah, I think owning, it helps with your overall network, just having something cool, so.
How did switching gears a little bit? So I would be remiss if I didn't ask about your car reviews, which I love.
That's
Tell me how
thanks.
that kind of started, or how that
Uh,
brainchild came to volition.
so, I mean, again, right, I've loved Top Gear growing up. Jeremy Clarkson, in my opinion, he's my idol, and he's like the peak car reviewer.
Have you met him?
No,
Not yet.
I would probably genuinely tweak out if I met
Okay.
Clarkson any of them, him and May. So, I always love watching the reviews. And really the guy who acted the YouTuber who really got me into wanting to film my own car reviews was a guy named That Dude in Blue. I don't know if you remember him on YouTube. I want to
Doug
say
Doug DeMuro was probably, when it comes to car reviews, him, and then Rady's Rides, Joe Rady.
he's local, yeah.
He is. I met him quite a
Local-ish.
few times,
Yeah.
and it's just a super, super nice guy. So, you always want to support good people.
Yeah, I don't know. I think because when I was in Naples, right, I had access to a lot of nicer not even nice, just cool cars. Like, it doesn't have to be like a supercar. Just, my best friend had a Mustang GT at the time, and I was in high school, and of course, he let me drive the car. I was like, let me just film some fun car reviews just for my own sake. I got a personal channel as well, Cassian and Cars. That's where I post everything. But so I've been making car reviews for like 8 or 9 years,
Wow.
kind of on and off, not consistently. But, I had a lot of rich friends down there, so, they had, like, McLarens, like, "Hey, you wanna drive it?" I'm like, "Yeah," and so but I was like, I might as well film myself driving it, so I would start doing that, really just kinda solo, and then once I joined the exotic dealer in Naples, kinda started doing car reviews for them, and then now at EEC, I do them almost weekly, maybe biweekly,
hmm
it's hard to find time, but I love them. I think, yeah, a lot of people seem to I feel like it kind of instills a bit of trust in us, that a person can go out and, like, just give an honest take about what this car feels like. Because I'm not super I don't sugarcoat things on there, I'm
hmm
like, "Hey, look, this car rides pretty rough," like, this transmission's kinda clunky, but trade-off, when you're on an open straight, it's the most thrilling feeling ever. So I try to
Like
kinda
it,
give
very much like the Aventador. Like,
it's the same thing, like.
that when you mentioned that, I immediately thought about that car. And by the way, Lamborghini, don't sue me. I love you. I'm wearing your shirt right now. But like I rented one of those for my honeymoon. It was actually a gift, one of my wedding gifts from a good buddy of mine. And I went and drove in traffic, and it's like, "Arr."
Yeah.
But you get on a straightaway, and the doors go up. It's super sick.
There's a big trade-off, and
Yeah,
the guy buying the event sort of knows that. He's
yeah.
not gonna be surprised when it's clunky or put in Corso, "Why are the shifts so aggressive?" Like, he's done his
I'm a
research.
hater because I want an SVJ. That's one of my girl cars. But
Well, I do too, that'd be
yeah,
sick.
don't we all?
But,
Don't we all?
yeah, so I'm pretty honest in the reviews. A lot of customers have given me great feedback. They say, "Look, this actually helped me make my decision." I throw some humor in there as well, not being too serious. I see a lot of car dealerships that do reviews, and they're very boring and very just like, there's no, like, emotion to it.
There's no with you saying that, there's no middle ground, which you do a good job of providing. It's either like super funny, trying to be, here's how many women you could fit in the back seat,
Yeah,
or
yeah,
it's like, or this is a
yeah. Welcome
2019.
back. This is a 2017. It's
Yeah,
like, okay, like,
okay, I'm good. Scroll.
yeah, a
So
good middle ground, right? I'm
yeah,
not going to be like that kind of overly, like, over the top guy. Like, I'm going to put the dollar bill in the dash and let the
yeah,
girl try to reach it as you're
yeah.
going over speed bumps. But, like, um, yeah, no. So that's my favorite part of the job. I love doing it. They take a couple hours to film. Editing obviously takes a while, as you know, but
Yeah.
I love them. So that's my favorite part.
I want to circle back to the Naples. So just, because we talked about that and we have that in common. So we were actually down there at the same time because I was in law school down there as
I
well.
didn't know that. Yeah.
Yeah. So we had talked about that a little bit, which is pretty funny. And I'm sure we were within meters, we'll call it, or a short distance at Cars on Fifth when it was Ferraris on Fifth.
Yeah.
And I remember going down there in law school. That is an insane car community. I remember seeing the 918 Spider when it had first come out, parked in front of the Waterset Shops, which we call it. That's like the International Mall of Naples, Rich Mall. And it was insane. And basically, if you lived on Gordon or the other one down there, Port Royal, you had to own a Bentley. I think it was required.
Bentley convertible.
Yeah, of course.
It has to be like silver.
But then they talk about the latest Bugatti that came out. I think the first one went down there.
White Mistral?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and just parked on like third or something.
Just casually on
just
third,
chilling.
Probably next to the Continental or whatever. But
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, the people don't realize too who are outside of the circle of South Florida. Naples, I want to say, I mean, it's probably tied with Palm Beach, but Naples, I think, has more money than anywhere else in Florida.
It was insane.
But it's a very concentrated area. Like it's 10 square miles of just the most insane cars you've ever seen. And during season, right, like December through April, there's like 3 times as many cars.
Rolls, McLaren, Bentley, Rolls, normal car, crazy supercar. And that's like sitting at a stoplight.
And that's not like an over-exaggerate. Like literally every 30 seconds, you will see something cool driving around.
Yeah, go hang out on Fifth.
Yeah, if you go on Fifth on any weekday during season, you will see crazy stuff. But it's at the same time, although it has become slightly flashier the past few years, it's still a lot of quiet money. They're not as flashy maybe as like the other coast of Florida where they're constantly flaunting it, which is fun as a car guy to see. But in Naples, like a guy could have a Bugatti and like no one cares.
Yeah.
Like your neighbor doesn't care. If you're in Boca Raton, you have a Bugatti, then your neighbor has to go get a better Bugatti.
Yeah,
it's just like this sort of competition that Naples doesn't really have. But I do miss it down there just because of that.
People were so nice. Food was great.
It's a lot of Midwesterners down there. A lot of guys from Chicago that have a second home down there, and great food, great water. I mean,
beach pass was $50 for parking, which was cool.
Yeah. I love it. I've been down there in a while. So
a lot of fun for the business owners. And we kind of talked about this. So you came up with the car reviews. What would you suggest is what I'm trying to get at is for the business owners out there that want to make content, but need to make different content. Let me give you an example. Hey, I'm Kevin and I'm a personal injury attorney. Call me if you're involved in an accident. Nobody cares. Right. Very similar. It's like, hey, we just got this F430 and Ferrari F430, come on down and see it.
Yeah.
Nobody cares. So educate the business owners, very similar to like your reviews about how important it is to come up with analogous, similar content that's going to advertise your business, but doesn't come across as salesy or lame.
That's the whole salesy thing is, I think, what turns a lot of people off. And that's why, not even just me, but everyone out at the dealership we're very low key. When you walk in there, we're not going to come bombarding you. I think we'll ask, how you doing, but we're not going to come off that way. Because I think that can turn people off. So at least for my content, I think authenticity is, I would say, key. People can tell if you're faking it or not. Like if you really are passionate about what you're talking about. Like I couldn't go sell TVs. Like I wouldn't be successful because I'm not just overly obsessed with them. Cars, it's like second nature to me. It doesn't even really feel like I'm selling them. I'm just simply yapping about cars, and I'm just giving my, years of experience driving these things, to whoever's watching the video or whoever's looking to buy it. I think authenticity is a big thing. And, you have to watch other people's content too, to an extent. Like you got to see like what's trending, what sounds are trending.
Do your homework.
Yeah, do your homework. So I feel like I used to like never watch other people's videos. I just thought, I could figure it out myself. But you kind of, you got to really look at what works and what doesn't for other creators as well and kind of mimic that, not directly copy it, but put your own twist on it. And, don't be afraid to, like you said, be a little honest with things. And I think people appreciate it.
I think authenticity is the right word, being authentic. And it's like we talked about earlier, it's the right measure between, I guess, comical yet respectable. And I think a
Yeah.
lot of people are just trying to get views right now.
Yeah.
Small businesses. So let's do these, gimmicky, funny videos and things like that
Sure.
rather than, and I think while you're getting a laugh and it's like, oh, that video got 10,000 views. Yeah, but did anybody call? No,
Yeah.
because they
Right.
think you're a knucklehead. You know what I
Right.
mean? So
Yeah.
I think it's that like certain amount of kind of funny likability. I think, and that's probably the right way to put it. I think people mistake likability with funny. It's like,
Sure.
I
Yeah.
watch your content because I like it and I think it's entertaining, not because it's funny. Because at the end of the video, I still want to feel comfortable calling you.
Right.
So if I, make a video of me playing in traffic because I think it's funny or something like that, and that's
Mhm.
probably a little exaggerated and it's meant to be, and whatever, acting like a knucklehead,
Yeah.
people are gonna be like, "Oh, that's funny," or "Look at this knucklehead,"
Yeah.
like,
Anyways,
view,
initial.
view,
Yeah.
and it's like, but I'm not gonna call him if I get in a car accident. Like he looks like stupid
A
out there.
goober.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So and I think it's very the same thing. You still have to maintain that respectability
Yeah.
and that ability
And
to be able to perform the job.
yeah, some form of professionalism still.
Absolutely. How do you predict trends for what you think is going to be the next, hot or popular car?
Well, nowadays it's a little bit different with how fast everything's moving, and the car market now, the car industry is changing like crazy now with everything going hybrid, V6, no manuals, essentially. So because of how it's moving now, you kind of look back and think, okay, what's a manual still? What's a V12 or paired with a V12 or even NA V8? Non-turbocharged cars. Is the car numbered? So, and certain brands do tend to have a better chance of going crazy, appreciating in value, like Ferrari, for example. Like
Mhm.
we've seen all the track Ferraris recently, the 360 Challenge Stradale, the 458 Speziales, the Pistas, and I think the Scuds are next.
Mhm.
I think they've been going crazy.
I think they're what? So the 458 Speciales gotta be 7? Are they at 1,000,000?
Coupes are about 700,000 to 800,000.
Okay. Yeah.
We just sold an Aperta
Excuse me.
Spider over in California for 1.6, which is a
It
little.
would and that you probably could have bought 5 years ago for 6.
Oh yeah, whoever initially had that car made a
Yeah.
nice little payday. But but it's like, how do you predict that that's just going to happen? Like you can predict long term, very slow growth.
Of course.
How do you predict that a Challenge Stradale is going to sell for 603 on Bring a Trailer when 2 months ago they were going for 400? Like, how do you? And so there are certain things that it's hard to really predict. Like, we didn't know the Lexus LFA would be $800,000 car.
No.
How are we supposed to know that? I mean, it's an iconic car. It's probably the best sounding car of all time, which probably holds a lot of weight
Mhm.
to that price. But like these are, and like, where's the ceiling? Is it going to keep going up? Is it just going to flatline? Like, how much? There's no way we're going to spend 1.5 for an LFA one day. Like, there's no way.
Until somebody does.
Until some crazy rich guy does, and then the
Yeah.
whole market has to try to adjust. But and now we're seeing with cars that are becoming hybrids, it's like, okay, now do we look at just non-hybrid cars? Like I made a video the other day about the Ferrari F8 being the last of the mid-engined V8 non-hybrids.
Mhm.
Is that going to be go on up in value someday because it's simply not a hybrid? Like it's a twin turbo, so naturally it's not going to be as
Look at the
sought
458s.
after.
I mean, that's gonna be I'm telling you, next 10 years, it'll be a $500,000 car.
458s have that car's 15 years old and it's still 200 grand, and we're
Yeah.
selling them for more than 488s
For a coupe.
for a coupe, and
Not even optioned.
the car doesn't even look like it's 15 years old.
Yeah,
It
no.
sounds amazing. It's still fast enough for the street. It's not
Mhm.
overly quick. Um, yeah. So anything NA and or manual and or V12, I think has a pretty solid chance.
And with that being said, you're essentially in high ticket sales. I mean, you're selling some of the other, second to houses and sometimes more than houses.
Yeah.
You're selling these, works of art, I like to call them. How do you vet out the time wasters and the non-buyers?
You mean like how do we kind of predict? Okay, this guy's probably not real.
Yeah, like how do so one of the big things is, for me, obviously, and I try to give all clients, obviously, that's what I do, my attention and things like that.
Of
But
course.
if you call me and you're like, I'm in an accident and, I need your help, and then I follow up with you 6 times and you're like, I don't want to sign, I don't know if I want to sign, I don't know, what about this? What about this?
Yeah.
At this point, and I'm not saying it in a derogatory
Mm.
term, but hey, maybe we're not the right
Yeah.
fit for
Eventually
you.
you have to say something.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. Because, your time is also valuable. And I think a lot of people don't realize that. So we got guys
You're in sales.
right, yeah.
You should be selling.
Yeah, so
You're not buying.
right,
This is
yeah,
a two-way
there has
street.
to be some kind of connection there, but, like, we get guys that come in every single day, and most guys that come in aren't looking to buy, they're just looking around, which is totally fine. That's what I used to do when I was a kid, so, but, we still say, "Hey, how you doing? Any questions, just let me know."
Yeah.
But if a guy pulls up and obviously something nice, you think, "Okay, maybe he's looking for something," so we'll kinda help him out a little bit. We'll give him a little tour of what we have. Um, but I think, really, honestly, the rich guys that we sell to aren't wearing, like, suits and ties, they're wearing shorts and flip-flops.
Those days are behind us.
Right, and so,
I would be more concerned if somebody came in a suit.
it happens,
Yeah.
and which is cool, I wanna look good, but, like, immediately when that guy comes in, I can tell this guy's just gonna waste our time, like, and not even to be, derogatory like you
Yeah.
said, because you never really know. A guy could pull up in a freaking, Chrysler Pacifica and be worth $1 billion. Like, some
Yeah.
guys just aren't flashy.
I pulled up to get the G-Wagon and 4Runner.
Right,
So,
you never know.
4Runner's a nice car. Sorry, Mom.
It'll last very long.
Yeah. She was the most pissed. My mom, I told her about the car, and she was like,
Yeah.
you sold the she's a
Yeah.
4Runner purist. And I'm like, Mom,
4Runner enthusiast.
she's all about it. But yeah, I mean, I think, and the reason why I say that, and, again, it's not to be disrespectful or derogatory or
Yeah.
anything like that. We always want to give our clients, and even our prospective clients, our time, our attention, and the highest level of customer service. But at the end of the day, I want, your time is super valuable, obviously, with sales and trying to sell, et cetera. So I wanted to give the audience a taste of that. It's where it's like, sometimes it's okay to cut bait, because what I
Yeah.
see in a lot of, I watch a long content as well and consume a lot. When you look at some of these customer service videos, it's like, it's like this buy or die mentality where it's like, you sell to them until they buy. And it's like, no, sometimes you just gotta, if you're really in sales, you'll develop that muscle where it's like, you know what? This is probably not going to happen. I appreciate the call. I appreciate you coming in, things like that. Let us know when, you're ready to make
Yeah,
some decisions.
and I think over time, just naturally just gaining experience with these things, you can immediately tell, just based on how someone presents themselves, how they talk, and especially, like, if they really know their stuff with cars, I'm like, okay, this guy's done his homework. Like, I need to kind of lock in now and, like, answer everything for him, and kind of guide him to the right car that he wants. But, there are a lot of guys, like we said, that just, like, the second they start talking, oh, I got 30 cars and I got all this other stuff, and these watches. Like, once I start talking about everything that they have,
Yeah.
immediately I'm kind of like, they could be real, right? But a lot of times I'm like, we've found out later on that, that guy was just completely lying. Like,
Yeah.
they don't really have any of this stuff. But a lot of guys, I think it's like they find it thrilling to go into a place like with exotic cars and pretend like that they're going to go through the whole process and then ghost. It's like
It's like a dopamine type
I
deal
think
or something?
so. Yeah, a lot of guys
That's crazy. I didn't even think about
like
that.
it's like it's a sort of thrill to
Yeah.
them to, like, pretend that they're going to buy a Ferrari, like, get to the
And
next
then they
step.
go to the table on Friday and was like, yeah, dog, I was gonna, or yeah, dude, I was gonna,
Right.
I was gonna buy the Ferrari, but they couldn't make the numbers work.
Right, or,
we were
like,
close.
they have, like, terrible credit score and they
Yeah.
couldn't get a loan, that's out of our hands. We can't
Yeah.
control that. But so a lot of
It's 'cause
guys
of the 30 cars. Yeah, they're maxed out on their credit.
Yeah, but it's like, just like catastrophic debt. But, like, there's a lot of guys that you can immediately tell this guy is, but we still have, like you said, you still have to give them the time of day, because you never really know. We've been
You don't.
surprised a lot of times.
Yeah.
So we give everyone the time of day, but after a while, like you said, you have to move on. So
There was a kid I told you the story about, and I won't mention any names. I was at a dealership, and I was buying, this was before I bought the green car, and I went up there, test drove the car, and I said, I like a deal. That's, always, when it comes to thrills and buying stuff, I love a deal. And I went up there, drove the car, everything, and I said, here's the number I'm willing to pay. I'm definitely getting a car. And this was like 4 or 5 years ago. And he comes back to me and says, hey, I talked to the client, they had it on consignment and this is what they're willing to do. And I said, hey man, it's not going to work for me. I told you my number. If that doesn't work, completely understand.
yeah,
And he's like, well, how do we even know that you could afford the car anyway? That's what he said.
that's
to me.
crazy.
Yeah, that's what he said to me. And I was like, oh, okay. Next week, I bought the green car. And then like 2 weeks after that, my buddy bought his girl a car there, and they invited them to a car show, and I ended up going with, and the guy comes up to me and he's like, oh, so what'd you end up getting? I said, oh, the Lambo over there.
Yeah.
He's like, oh. And I was like, yeah. And it was 70 grand more than you quoted me. So
Yeah.
guess I could afford the car.
It's probably super awkward after that.
Yeah, it was a little weird after that. So, but there's certain things too, you still have to, if you can't get the deal done, you have to operate with a certain amount of, I guess, respectability or
Sure.
professionalism at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So what is it like, on a positive note, being around some of these Grail cars? Like you just shot or did some content with a LaFerrari, which is my ultimate, if I hit the Powerball or 20 years down the road,
That's the car.
I think, that would be like if money was not an option, and that would be the car.
I thought you were a big Bugatti guy.
I'm a big Bugatti guy as well, but I'm a big, and this is going to sound super unhumble, but I'm a Bugatti guy because Bugattis are actually affordable. You know what I mean? Like,
right, relative to LaFerrari now.
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You could, I've seen, and they've gone up, but you could have got a Bugatti a couple years ago for what, $1 million?
Veyrons?
Yeah.
Yeah, Veyrons. And there's finally, I think,
And everybody,
so.
I'm not saying $1 million isn't
No, but it's all
but in
relative.
the scheme of things,
It's all relative, yeah.
$1 million.
LaFerrari is 5 times that money.
That's what I'm saying.
4 times. But
Yeah. But
no, yeah, and Veyrons now, I think deservingly so, are finally starting to kind of get the spotlight, because I think that's the most important car, I think, of our generation.
And I'm not saying to get in debt or anything like that. I'm going to get 19 comments. But that would be actually cool. Yeah, leave some hate below. Let's make this thing go.
Love the hate comments.
Yeah, but if you think about it, $1 million, you got to put down what, 300 grand, 400 grand, probably.
And you got to, servicing that car is not cheap. So.
That's not cheap either, but I'm saying, call it $20,000 a month. Sure. That's not crazy. It's insane.
Yeah. No.
But it's not LaFerrari
Sure.
Yeah, that's all I'm saying. So,
and another thing too with these hypercars, if you invest that, most hypercars do tend to go up in value.
Yeah.
Most. So you're kind of safe, right? Long term, you think, okay, I'm not going to lose money at least.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we have a LaFerrari right now. It actually leaves today, unfortunately. It wasn't for sale or anything. It was just a privately owned car we were keeping for about a week and a half.
So cool.
Very last minute. I didn't even know about it. And then I was like, oh, hey, that's cool.
Did you drive it?
No.
I was going to say, sit in it?
Yeah. If it was ours, selling, I could.
You probably would have arranged something on a private track.
Some kind of car review.
Yeah, or something.
Like that. But privately owned car, I'm not going to mess with it.
Yeah,
but, I did make some content around it. But
insane, dude.
Crazy car. And it's funny because you asked, what's it like being around these cars? And I always say we're all very heavily desensitized to it by this point. Not that I don't still get giddy at times. I do tweak out sometimes when I see something crazy. But it's been sitting in the showroom for a few days now. Now I kind of just walk by and don't even look at it, which maybe sounds weird, but first couple of days I was just constantly taking pictures of it and kind of milking it, right, for content. But now it's after a few days you kind of get used to it. But that's how it is with a lot of the cars, and it's the same thing where if you're in the yacht industry, right, you're gonna get used to massive
another
boats.
100-foot boat. Yeah,
doesn't mean that you don't love it. You just don't get excited still to go out on those boats or to drive these cars. But you just kind of get used to it. And then I'm reminded of this, how crazy it really is when, some 9-year-old from, I don't know, Ohio comes in and starts genuinely freaking out about a Gallardo.
See, that's what gets me.
Right.
The reaction of other, Chaz has his, but I went to the armature works on the roof or whatever, which was really cool. That was different.
Yep.
And he had his GT2 and his GT3 out there and stuff. And I was like, oh, sick. And I'd seen quite a few GT3s and a handful of GT2s. Now his was a 6 spec. Don't get me wrong. It was
a crazy color, yeah.
But I was more stoked for him to see him walking around and showing people and stuff like that. Or, buddy Andrew Duncan has his Ford GT. Super sick car, amazing. But he told me the story about how he got it and things like that. And I'm like, dude, I'm stoked for you. This car's super cool.
Yeah.
But I'm more stoked to hear that you're hyped about it.
Yes.
That's what gets me going now.
Yeah. I mean, and even when I'm driving these cars at work, because I do take cars home every now and then and film content with them while they're out, and to see kids hanging out the window, getting pictures, it's hard to not love that feeling, because I was once that kid too. So it's I feel like I'm kind of giving back in a way. And, if a kid comes in, he's kind of sitting there, I'm like, yes, absolutely, you can sit in it. Now, if there's 30 other people in line, I'm like, well, maybe you'll.
Yeah.
Because then everyone's going to want to sit in it. But if it's just you and I, we're in there alone and you want to sit in something, I'm more than happy to let a kid sit in a car. And so, I'm reminded of that of just how crazy it is that we're around these. And we're also just spoiled in general being in South Florida, right? If we
Yeah.
lived in like Michigan, maybe we wouldn't see these cars driving around as often, but dude, we see cars like this every week, and Tampa's growing like crazy. So there's just more and more of it.
Well, a lot of our friends own them. That's the
Yeah,
other thing too. So it's like it's kind of like, oh, did you see so and so got this? Yeah, yeah, cool car, but stoked. Like I'm more, like I said, I'm more stoked for them than
right.
probably the cars these days.
Right, I'm not gonna go, like, drilling over a lot of these cars at this point. There's a couple of the new stuff coming out that
Yeah,
I really do like the Aston Valkyrie, things like that, like, really excite me, but, yeah, I've become a little bit numb to some of this stuff, and that's why it's driving some of the older cars now kinda reignites that excitement. Some of the new stuff is a little boring to me.
Nick is from McLaren, is a good buddy of mine, and I
Okay.
get a lot of my stuff from him. And then Nick and Lamborghini Sarasota, great
Yeah.
dudes down there and stuff like that. Want to shout out both dealerships so they don't both kill me for not mentioning them.
Huh.
But those guys, like I'll go down there, one dealership or another, and go dab everybody up and say what's good. And like, hey, let's show you this. Let me show you this and stuff like that. And I'm like you said, just kind of like, oh, this is sick. But, like the Valkyrie, like I was stoked on it, but I was like, cool, like another hypercar.
Yeah.
But I wasn't like, oh my gosh,
No, I
this
think
is,
that feeling of when you were a kid and you see like, when I saw, like, an older '05 Ford GT like against the window, and I remember vividly sprinting towards the car. I was probably 12,
hmm
and my heart pounding, like so excited to see that. Unfortunately, as you get older, that feeling slowly kind of goes away.
you ever other things going on too.
Right. It's just, because you're experiencing life for the first, I mean, we're all experiencing life for the
Yeah.
first time, but all these emotions are so new when you're
That's a much
younger.
different podcast. No, I'm just kidding.
No, we could keep going, but like, you're experiencing all these new emotions and feelings when you're younger that now you experience a lot of it that it doesn't maybe hit you as hard. Um, so yeah, I think naturally just simply getting older, you get used to things. Um, but like I said, it doesn't mean I don't still get excited when I see certain things.
So as far as the sales side goes, switching gears a little bit, obviously, when we were talking about, maybe people not being serious or aren't, et cetera, how do you kind of deal with the levels or the effects of maybe not closing the deal or not closing the sale? What gets you going up the next day and saying, okay, back at it? How does that mindset
Um,
work?
I mean, it sucks. Like regardless, right? I mean, you're like, damn, I sent this guy a bunch of videos. I did a full walk around for the guy, answered all his questions, sent him to, all the info, service records, whatever. And then they end up kind of ghosting you. That it just happens. I mean, it's when you sign up for sales,
The thrill of the hunt.
it's a thrill, and you kind of just have to accept it's just going to happen. Like,
hmm
your closing rate's only going to be maybe 15-20% if you really think about it, compared to all the leads that we get.
Which is probably high.
Right. Now my position is a little bit different because I'm not pure sales. Like I'm
hmm
not like I do sell here and there, a couple cars a month, but uh, I do all the media content creation and whatnot. And so because of that, if something doesn't work out, I can kind of just move on to a car review, you know what I mean, and kind of forget about it. But if you're strictly sales, like you're commission based, I would imagine, it would you just have to keep on cranking. And you also we get multiple leads a day, so you can there's always a new lead to move on to.
hmm
If it's completely dry and you're just like, damn, I was kind of waiting around for a lead, but we get pretty consistent leads, so you're kind of always on to the next one, um, pretty much every day. So
How do you feel? And we kind of touched about it a little bit with the current car companies, luxury car companies, exotic car companies going to this hybrid electric model. I feel like it hasn't hit well. If you look at the market,
no.
the public has not become too excited about it. So tell me just any thoughts that you have on that.
Um,
Kind of
yeah,
leave it open ended.
yeah, because hybrids they've been around for a little while now. Like the LaFerrari's a hybrid,
Mm-hmm.
P1's a hybrid.
Yep.
Uh, but those was kind of the first of its kind, just in terms of like super or hypercars, supercars. Now it's like 80% of the new cars coming out are hybrid, and a lot of these cars are already kind of finicky to begin with without the hybrid system, and you add that in there, and then you just have this enormous cluster of potential issues. That's why we're seeing the SF90 market just That's why you won't see a lot of SF90s in our showroom because we just refuse to buy them for the most part.
But if you go online, there's other showrooms. There's 8 of them.
They do, and I don't know how they're doing it, dude. But like
296s too.
F8s are now more than 296s. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, they made less F8s to be fair, but like,
And they've held well. I mean, they're in the low 4s, high 3s.
F8s,
Yeah.
F8s have been completely stable the entire
Yeah, my
time.
buddy just got one. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's a great car. The 296, they're a tour. I mean, McLaren already can't make a car without having issues, so now they're gonna throw a hybrid system in there. It's just gonna be disastrous. So the Artura market is really soft. I think we offered a guy like 150 for his Zero Day. That's like a new car almost.
Yeah.
The MC20 Maserati, I think very underrated car. I love that car, but it's a V6, and it's like throw away that beautiful design on a V6 to me was crazy.
Yeah, I've been in one, but another friend has one. Doors go up. I mean,
It looks so good.
he had a pearl white one, or may still have it.
Yeah,
Sick car, super nice,
gorgeous car. Great interior.
And then they're
way
like,
too
boom,
quiet.
V6 hybrid.
Yeah, it's like you get all this, and then last minute, like, let's put a horrible sounding V6. Like, it just doesn't. And even with an exhaust, it still does not sound very good. But it's really fast. But they're also depreciating. Like they're at like 150 now, 160. For that money, it's a great car. But yeah, the shift we're seeing is very interesting, and it's weird because the market clearly is not liking these new hybrid systems. Yet they're still making them. Like they just keep on pushing them out. I don't know if they're just like not in tune with, like they're not in touch with reality or like what real car guys want. The problem is they're not selling to real car guys now. They're selling to just rich dudes who just want something flashy and cool. They're not
Core
real
sellers,
car enthusiasts.
yeah,
Sure.
New money.
Right. Guys who don't even know that Corsa exists in a Lambo. Like they just drive around and like, so yeah, I think that's part of it too, is they're not selling to real car guys. The reality is most of the guys that buy these cars, the majority of them aren't as like nerdy as someone like we are. And so they don't need to cater to us. But it is interesting, every hybrid that comes out, even the new the Revueltos. I don't know a single person that hasn't had an issue with the Revuelto. Car just came out. Looks amazing. It does sound good. I'm happy it is a V12, but like I don't know. And it's like because now everything is 1,000 horsepower because of these extra motors that they're putting in the cars. So now because of that, it'll boost the power an extra couple hundred horsepower. So that's why we're seeing everything now with 1,000. That's why the new M5 is like, I forget how much power. It's some crazy
Insane
amount of
number.
power. And it's just too much. Like, and then they're not usable on the street. Like when I floor.
And that's my concern. Like, not putting on my accident attorney hat or anything like that. But it's like, imagine you got some 24-year-old behind that, an M5 that's now kind of affordable that has, 800-900 horsepower. That's not good.
That's a lot of
car.
To me, the sweet spot is like 400 to 600. It's like this really usable sweet spot.
And that's a lot.
That's still a lot, right? If you watch old Top Gear from like 05.
The Evo, I think, is 6 and change. And I mean, 0 to 60 in like 3 seconds, something like that.
Very fast.
Yeah. That's
like,
plenty. Because that's still your dead.
Yes. But I'll watch like an old Top Gear episode and they're like 0 to 60 in 4.5 seconds. Like it's the craziest thing ever.
Oh, yeah,
and we just moved on. But now it's like when I'm in a McLaren 750S, I love McLarens, but I'm just focused on not dying the entire time. Like when I'm on it, I can't even really take it all in because I'm just trying to like just hold on. When I'm in something like a 430 Scuderia or like a 458,
you have control.
I can take everything. I can feel all the vibrations and just rev it out and not be doing life in prison with no chance of parole.
We my buddy bought a 720S like 3 years ago, and we took it in St. Pete in an undisclosed location, and he got on it to the speed limit, of course, and because that's what we do.
Yep.
I was scared. Like I was and then he goes, kind enough, he was like, hey, he just got it. He goes, you want to drive it? I go, absolutely not. I was like, nope, I'm good. I was like, that thing.
And it's rear-wheel drive. Like,
they're rocket ships, which is cool. I mean, know what you're getting into.
You got to know what you're getting into. McLarens are my personal favorite for the most part to drive.
Oh, an orange 720, Volcano orange?
Yeah, it's great. Actually, I just sold a Volcano orange 720.
I saw it. Yeah.
They're
so sick.
Great cars. The steering, the carbon tub, the doors, they sound good enough. but it's really 0 to 60 is all kind of similar. It's after 60 is when cars like that just continue to just take off,
Mhm.
and that's when it's really night and day compared to Lambo, Ferrari. Like McLarens were always one step ahead performance wise.
Mhm.
A lot of guys don't realize that, but yeah.
Tell me, how do you earned, and you kind of touched on a little bit, how do you earn trust so quickly? With you're dealing with high income,
hmm
high net worth individuals. How do you get their trust and are like you're the guy to go with?
So for me, honestly, it kind of goes back to some of the content that I make. I also have a decent TikTok following, so a lot of my customers follow me on there, and they see all the videos that I put out regarding the car markets and comparing, best first supercar, best first Ferrari you could buy for 150 grand, like things like that, mixed with the actual full car reviews I do at EEC, and a lot of guys do see that, and I think just because of that, they see, hey, you're the guy who is in the videos. Like, I trust your opinion. Like, I had a guy the other day call our store simply asking because he just trusted my opinion on why he should buy
Wow,
either a Turbo S versus a cab, what's going to hold better
that's
long
pretty
term.
flattering.
It was nice to know, it was nice to see. So I get calls like that every now and then. And also the way I sell a car is a bit more of like I kind of like a raw style of selling car. I'm not like I don't have any crazy closing lines or salesy pitches. I'm not good at that kind of stuff. I sell a car just based on my pure raw passion for it.
Mhm.
And I'm really good at explaining to somebody how a 720 drives compared to a Huracan, the pros and cons of both. Um, and I think people just appreciate again that like the authenticity of it. Maybe I'm not just looking at numbers on paper, right? Oh, this car is faster here, or this has a better top speed. Like, how does it feel? How did like,
Mhm.
the vibrations and the
Because 0
tech,
to
and
60 in one car is a lot different than 0 to 60 in another, vice
they're
versa.
all different. And the reality is, if people only cared about 0 to 60, they go buy a Tesla Plaid.
Mhm.
Like, there's a reason people are still buying an SVJ, knowing that a Plaid is going to be quicker to 100.
Mhm.
Like, there's so much more to it than just numbers on paper.
You ever seen a Plaid shoot flames?
Exactly.
Not on purpose.
Right. Tesla, not on purpose.
Yeah.
They have shot flames
Yeah.
unexpectedly.
Yeah. So, but that was maybe the whole car.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, a bit different, but
yeah.
yeah, so it's hard to explain to people like on TikTok who are like, "Oh, Tesla Plaid's faster." It's like, yeah,
It's
we
not, we're
know this.
apples and
Like,
oranges, friends.
we
Like,
know this. It's not going to change the thing that it's still just a gimmick.
tell me, I'm coming in, little situation. Coming in, I got 200-ish grand to spend, an exotic car, or I want my first exotic car. I don't know a ton, but obviously, I know the big three, we'll call them. What would you tell me is the best bang for my buck?
For 200 grand,
Yeah, or under?
you could get a higher mileage 720S for 200 ish. I also kind of like, me being a dealer, I think of like wholesale prices too.
Mhm.
Like, we could get like an auction. Retail, we're talking retail.
Retail. Yes, I'm a potential
Um,
customer.
okay, 600 LT, I
Okay.
think is a very exciting car. Spits flames.
Okay.
I got the doors, fast as hell. Um, Great driving position. Less to go wrong than other McLarens because there's no active aero and no cool screen that comes down like a 720. Um, I would say that's up there. No, I'm just thinking a lot of these cars just keep going up, dude. They're past 200.
I know. I was thinking, so it's past 200 and it's been past 200, but it's getting down there, 488.
480, it's getting down there.
So I think that's something to keep your eye on. Maybe that could hit 2.25
Oh,
ish.
absolutely. It could hit
So
2.25, 458. So you can get some earlier ones with some miles for like 200. Like, we have a yellow one now for about 200.
I mean, I think honestly, I think of the 360 and the 430s, not the fastest. Need a little bit of service and things like that. But I mean, I think that's one of the best bang for your bucks.
430 F1 430, I think, is one of the best entry level supercars. And
Sounds
because
great.
it's
Drives
usable,
great. Yeah.
it's going to hold value pretty well. It's usable power, still looks pretty good. It is an older single clutch, but I think those are actually a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Actually, an alternative would be a manual 360. A gated manual 360 for 135 grand is a very slept on car. It's completely changes that car from F1 to gated manual. Way more fun to drive. Super light on its feet. A bit more maintenance heavy than like a 458, but
Hmm.
or like my dad actually picked up a gated manual V10 R8. great car that's
Those
gonna
are super slept on.
very slept on. They're gonna. I told him, I was like, you can drive that car and probably not lose any money on it. Like it'll just slowly creep up. Same with gated Gallardos, very slept on as well. I don't know why that's so behind like the F430s. I guess because
I don't know.
they made a lot more of them with manual. But yeah, $200,000. The problem now is there's so many options.
Yeah.
And
I think that's even more confusing. And again, comes down to, what do you like? What do you don't like? Are you trying to go fast? Are you trying to take your wife to, date night, service, that looks like?
Another cool car, Aston Martin DBS Superleggera.
I know you've been hyped on those. I saw your review.
I love those cars. We have one with a crazy blue interior right now. And that car is like savagely quick.
Yeah.
Like genuinely, I was not expecting that. Because you think Aston, you think, oh, it's a classy gentleman's car. No, it was
James Bond, yeah.
Absurdly quick car.
That's awesome. And even the Bentley GTs, or GTCs and things like that. I mean, those are getting aggressive now.
Those tend to tank quite a bit. All the British brands tend to drop a lot. So Rolls, Bentley, Aston, Jag. Jag is kind of cooked anyways. But they all tend to just drop like crazy. Astons you can get a
and I think it's probably because that customer base just gets a new one every 2 years.
I think
and
so.
They're just kind of immune to it.
And part of me, it's like, who's buying these cars new? Who's buying a $580,000 new Vanquish when in 2 years it's going to be $250,000? I don't understand who these people are, but and more power to them, I guess. I wish I had that problem. But yeah, you can get like a newer Vantage for like $80,000 now.
Mm-hmm.
Not quite a supercar, but it's a great sports car.
Great car, yeah.
You can get there's
Mercedes
so many
GTRs.
Mercedes GTRs,
great cars.
Even just the Mercedes GT for like $60,000.
Yeah.
There's a lot of really cool cars you can get for sub 100 now.
Mm-hmm.
It's cliche to say, but McLaren 12C, if you can get a warranty with it for some peace of mind, because they're a little finicky.
Do not buy one of those without a warranty.
You got to get it's a complete death trap if you're not doing that. But they're fantastic.
And that's not my opinion. Watch Tyler Hoovie's.
Just they all are like that. But great car for the money. I think there's a lot of undervalued cars. Like I think the 430 Scuderias for $350 are going to start going up quite a bit. They kind of follow suit with the other track cars. That's my favorite car if I had to have any of them. There's just there's a lot of options now, and it can be kind of overwhelming for some people.
Just follow what Ed Bullion does, because he seems to buy everything he buys seems to go up.
He knows the market. He's got like the Mercy and Missy Elliott's old Spiker.
Yep.
And he's got some really cool cars. But I think, if you watch the market, you can kind of tell now what's going to do well and what isn't. And not that you have to buy cars strictly for an investment.
No.
You should buy it to enjoy it.
But it's fun to drive a car for free.
It's a good plus to even if you lost $10,000 after a year, like that's a pretty good deal.
I think I lost $30,000 on the green car, and I think that's a maybe. I'm at 20,000 miles now.
How long have you had it for?
4 years.
Yeah, see, you can't complain. Yeah. Like that's
I lost $8,000 a year.
That's not
and
bad.
Had insane memories.
And you probably haven't really had any.
I would have lost that on a Ford F-150. Like maybe not that, but Toyota 4Runner. Yeah,
but Huracan is a great choice. You can get that for $200,000 now. You can get like a 2015, 16 all-wheel drive or a rear-wheel drive,
which is a great car.
Arguably the best supercar, just as an overall package.
I think I just got very lucky. I bought it in 21. I think it's hands down, knock on wood, reliable.
Yeah,
great car.
Great sound.
Looks amazing. Sounds great. I mean, everybody's like, "What are you going to get next?" I'm like, "Well, I don't know, but I'm not selling that thing."
There's not a lot that's a better package.
No. So, dude, I can't thank you enough. This was as incredible as I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
I'm going to put down your contact details in with all your links, social media, and things like that.
Sure.
In the bio. So if anybody wants to reach out to you about talking about a car or following you on social, checking out your views or anything like that, they can definitely do that. And above all else, thank you for coming. This was a blast.
Thanks for having me, man.
Make sure you like and subscribe, because I always forget to tell you. And as always, it is no accident that Cassian is as successful as he is. Thanks, my dude. Appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
We'll see you guys soon.